First of all, nice to meet you all. Here from Israel, I'm me and Raz. We're very happy to be here and to share with you my experience. I just need to start and say that my English is not perfect, so I hope you will understand me by your heart. And if there is a question or something that is not clear, you can write it down and we will have a time for questions. So can we begin, Janice?
Yes, you may begin, Hila.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Well, my story began 6 years ago. But before, I want to share with you a little bit from my life before the NDE. I'm 11 years a lawyer, and before my NDE, I was a lawyer and I used to represent big companies. And after my NDE, I chose to deal with civil rights. I was represent in the courtroom about labor rights. And after that, while I was looking for the perfect occupation for me, I found out that being a lawyer is not the right place. But this is very connected to the after effects, so I will leave it to the continue. So 6 years ago, I had some kind of illness and I needed surgery. So I was freak of control, so I went to the best doctor and I wanted to have the best surgery, the best surgeon, and I did it on private and didn't even went to the government hospital. And in this surgery, the doctor left a blood vessel open. So for 3 weeks after the surgery, when I thought that I am in physical pains, but healing pains, I found out that I'm just bleeding almost all of the blood that I had in my body. So after 3 weeks, I collapsed and I decided that I was rushed to the hospital, and when I was in the hospital, I felt that something bad is going on, which means I felt that the people around me all the medical staff, they don't understand what's going on to me, because not only that on the first surgery, the blood vessel was open, when I arrived to the hospital after 3 weeks, the medical staff were confused with my blood test sample and other girl blood sample. So nobody knew that I'm bleeding. After 24 hours that I was in crazy pains and I was praying in my heart to feel good, I felt that I'm fighting for my life. I felt that I have something that didn't happen to me before, because before, in the past, I used to faint, but like that, when I was in the hospital, that I'm coming back to conscience, and even after coming back to conscience, it's very hard for me to move my eyes, to respond to the people around me. And it was frightening because I felt, oh my God, am I going to be stuck like that forever? And every 20 minutes at the hospital, I fainted. So I knew something else is happening to me, and I felt that I'm going to die, seriously that I'm going to die, but I didn't believe that I'm going to die. So after 24 hours that I'm fighting, came to my room a doctor, and his name is Dr. Baruch. If you translate his last name to Hebrew, the meaning is Dr. Blessing. And my last name, if you translate it to Hebrew, Baruch, it means bless. So this angel came to my room at the hospital, and at the minute that he came in, I just knew that my angel just came in. He didn't even watch see the protocol. He just saw me, and as you see, I have a dark skin, but when he looked at me, he saw that I'm all white, and there is no color, and not on my lips and my eyes, and he immediately understood that I lost a lot of blood. So he went out of my room and he started to yell on the other doctors, and he said, hey, this girl is going to die. She lost a lot of blood. Immediately to the city imaging machine. So immediately I was rushed to the city imaging machine. And while I was there, my body started, my body shaked, and I puked, and I couldn't hold myself anymore like I was trying the 24 hours before at the hospital. And I felt that, okay, now it's over. Like I can't hold myself in the body anymore, and I don't have any power anymore. So I was there inside the CT imaging machine, and I heard all the doctors came in, took me out of there, and they were like crazy. They all thought I'm going to die. And they said, and yelled, and they said, oh my God, this girl is going to die immediately. Surgery, to the surgery room. And it was very, very hairy, all the things that happened from that moment. They rushed me to the surgery room. While they rushed me to the surgery room, I tried to hold myself, but I fainted. But from that moment, something else happened, because every time that I fainted, I still was in conscience, which means that my thoughts still, I was still thinking the thoughts that I was before, so it was continued, it wasn't stopped. And I thought to myself, oh my God, am I going to die? Is it the end of my journey? I'm only 30 years old. Well, I experienced things in my life, but that's it, that's life, it's going to end for me. And I couldn't believe that. And I heard the doctors talking about that I'm dying, and I wasn't ready to accept that information, even though I thought that there is a chance, but I couldn't believe that. So inside of my heart, I yelled and I said, no way, I want to live, I want to be alive. And while I'm thinking those thoughts, I was panicked, and suddenly I asked, well, maybe this is really the end of my journey, and maybe that's my time to go. And when I asked that, I got an answer, like strong answer that shaked all of my body. And the answer was without words, but I knew that it's not my time, but it might be my time because I wasn't in my right path. I didn't understood the meaning by details, but I just know that this is what's going to happen to me. And I know this voice is right. And if before I was panicked, so now I was more panicked than I can be. I just felt that, oh my God, I want to be alive. I never in my life, I never felt such a huge wishing, I don't know what's the right word, but I just wanted to be alive. And I woke up, well, actually got back to conscience, and I see the Dr. Baruch, the angel, with his hand on my cheek, and he said, look, you're dying, we will do anything to save you, we're going to take you to a surgery, and if we will be able to save you, we might take out of your body a few organs. But for me, when I opened my eyes, something else happened. All my panic that I had, everything just disappeared. I felt peaceful. I felt alive. I was confident. I didn't know what's going to happen, but I knew that everything is going to be okay. I didn't know what will happen, if I'm going to stay alive, I'm not going to stay alive, but I just felt that everything is going to be okay. So I looked at him, and there was like a mist around him, and his face, he was glowing. It was like another dimension, but I was still there at the hospital, and I just want to tell him, call my mom, I just want to tell her that everything is going to be okay, everything is going to be fine. And immediately they brought my mom, and me and my mom, we kissed all of our face, me, her, and she kissed me, and I told her, Mama, everything is going to be all right. And she said, yes, it's going to be all right. And I said, everything is going to be all right, Mama, believe me, everything is going to be all right. I was so sure of that. And they separated us and brought me into the surgery room, to the emergency surgery room. While they brought me inside the surgery room, I felt that there are words that coming out of me. There was something from the Psalms. I'm saying that right, Roz? And I started to say this. It was Shir Lama'alot, Esai Nail Ha'arim, Me'ayin Yavo Ezri. And I said all of this, but it didn't feel that I'm saying that. It was spoken through me, and I was just the pure meaning of the words, and I never felt how is it to be only the pure meaning of words. And after saying that, I looked around me, and they were all like running and do things in the surgery room. And I closed my eyes and I said, Shema Israel. It means, hear, O Israel, the Lord of our God, the Lord is one. And then I opened my eyes, and before I said that sentence a lot in my life, but in that moment I felt what it means, the Lord is one. and what it means to hear. Like nobody told me ever before that I have ears on my heart, and suddenly I felt those words, the meaning of those words, and I was so excited and I felt fullness. So then I opened my eyes and I looked around me and I saw my great-grandmother and my two cousins, that 3 women from my family that weren't alive, and they were there. And when I saw them, I was so happy to see them. It was so warm, and I said to them, not by words, it was telepathically, I said to them, I'm so happy that you are here. And they were happy also to see me. And my great-grandmother, she was there inside of a flame, and it was like she's standing and look about everything that happened in that room. And when I felt so much fullness and joy, the doctor came to me, Dr. Baruch, the angel, and put his hand on my head, and he said, we will do everything we can to save your life. And when he did that, I felt his hand inside my head. All the good things that he did with his hand, I felt it inside my head. I felt the meaning of a hand, the spiritual meaning of a hand, what it means to give and what it means to take. And all the life that he saved with his hands, and all of those experiences of his hands, of Dr. Baruch, I felt all these lives inside of my head, and I felt, wow, it's amazing, and it felt so natural. But something else was so strange for me, that his face was like that. So if I do this, my nose touch his nose. So I thought to myself, this is so weird. His face so close to me. And I'm saying that because in that level, I didn't understood that I am like laying like that, and I am a little bit outside of my body, but above my body. I'm still feeling my body, but I'm up to my body. And from that point, I started to feel tinglings from my foot. And those tinglings were like if you take the essence of the love that all the mothers that ever had, and the mother that will be, and the mothers that in the present, their love to their children, and you put it in a bottle, all this essence of love, and you inject this to the body, that's what I felt, but more, much more. I started to feel all these love tinglings, and it just came up to my head with warm currents, and I felt, oh my God, this is wonderful, and it felt so natural, you know. And when it came to everything came to my head, I just felt that my head became the planet Earth, and that every cell and cell in my head is breathing, is the planet Earth, which means that the stones, the sky, the galaxies, the trees, everything, the people, everything is alive, and I feel this living life inside of my head, the whole planet is here. And it was amazing and natural, and I just didn't want it to stop. And what happened next was that I felt bad nose, like something very irritating that I couldn't contain. And the movements around me of the doctors was like movements that filling the space, like you see in the movies, that the body is here and here and here in every move. And this, what I see, all these movements that filling the space, and the nose that I couldn't contain, I just wanted to stop, and I yelled in my heart, and I said, please, please, please make it stop. I can't hear that. And when I asked that, I hatched from the root of every cell and cell of my body with a swing outside of my body. I was at the ceiling. I floated at the ceiling, and I saw everything from the ceiling. I saw the doctors, and I saw everything around me. And immediately, from being hatched out of my body, I felt, oh my God, I'm home. Now I'm home. I never felt like that. I felt like the whole universe is hugging me. And even the particles, they love me. But it's not something that separated me. It's also me. And there was a breathing, and everything moved with that breath. The walls, the people, the doctors, the machines, me, the trees, the stars, and in every breath and breath, I was in the hospital, out to the galaxies, in the hospital, and I felt everything as one. I saw my body there. I had no feelings to my body, just gratitude, like a coat that warmed me at the cold nights, but it wasn't me. This is me. I felt peaceful like I never felt before. And I saw that everything is so current, because before I went out of my body, I thought there is a chaos around me. I saw the doctors and they were all running. It wasn't like the first surgery. It was different. They were all panicked. And now when I'm outside of my body, I understand all the connections. Why the first surgery was over with blood vessel open, why it was with that surgeon. And that surgeon, Dr. Bruchim, that now make my surgery, he felt responsibility to me like I'm his daughter. I felt all his feelings, all the thoughts and the feelings that the medical staff thought and felt. And I just want to say to them, hey, I'm good, I'm fine, everything is okay, I feel great, I'm home, don't be stressed, I'm okay. But nobody heard me. And Dr. Bruchim's thoughts, I heard them the most, because it was his last day at this hospital. And the first surgeon, he was his trainer. So that's how I knew that the first surgeon was stagiaire of the Dr. Bruchim, the one who make the surgery right now. And when he thought, and he was angry at the hospital that confused with my blood sample, and he was angry on the first surgeon who left me with a blood vessel open. And when he thought about the first surgeon, I was launched because I thought about him too. And it's not quite a thought because you are the thoughts. It's not like inside the body. And in that minute, I launched to a cabin in the north, and I saw the first surgeon with his wife in a cabin in the north. I saw him take his phone, see all the phone calls that I called him while I was rushed to the hospital, and the phone calls that at the hospital called him, and he didn't answer. He just switched his phone and put it aside and was with his wife. And I launched back to the hospital, and then I wanted to say to my mom, don't worry, everything is going to be okay, I feel good. So immediately when I thought about my mom, I launched to my mom, and I saw her she tried to pray. And it was very difficult to her to pray because she was in shock. She couldn't believe that her daughter is dying, like the doctor said. And I tried to tell her, Mama, I'm okay, I'm good, I'm home, just don't worry about me. Seriously, I'm good, Mama. But she couldn't hear me. I launched back to the surgery room, and while I was out of my body, floated there at the surgery room, all the answers that I had all of my life, the questions, I'm sorry, that all of my life that I had, I got all the answers like at once, with no words, only meaning, and questions like, what's the purpose of life? All of my life I was looking for the purpose. I could be a dancer, a singer. I did a lot of things before being a lawyer, and everybody who knew me thought that this is what I will do. I will deal with artistic things in my life, and I felt that I have a mission to help people, so I went to law school, and it wasn't there my way. So I was very frustrated, and I was trying to find the purpose of life and the meaning, and I had a lot of questions like, if life is supposed to be good, and if God is good, so what it means, why we are suffering in this life. So all the questions that I had all of my life, I just, in a minute, I just got all the answers, but without any words. I even got an answer about the illness that I had, that there is no illness. There was never illness. And that I'm already healthy. And that the pain, it's not real. But if I want to elaborate about all the insights that I got there outside of my body at the surgery room, I think that the wisdom of love, it's so simple, but inside the body we need to use with talking skills. So we are in a phase of time. So maybe in another time, but I will continue. While I'm there and I feel this huge love that I never felt before, I know that I'm going to go up with my family, and we were starting, I wasn't afraid. It was like I'm in the station, train station, and I'm going to the next place right now. So the next thing I remember that I was above, I looked at the hospital. We were all going up, and me and my cousins, and they were escort me to go out of this planet Earth. So the next thing that I remembered is that I'm in a void, in a darkness that was endless. It's like a world without a begin and without an end. And that darkness, I want to try to explain it. It was thick like a cement, and I didn't know how much time I'm supposed to be there. For me, there was no time. And while I was there, I saw that at the surgery room, they asked for more and more blood units. And I knew that every minute in the earth is important because maybe I won't be able to come back. Meanwhile, I heard in another world that talking about me, and it was not easy to hear that. I felt that I'm like an embryo in a womb, and it took me a long time after my NDE, I think around 5 years, to find the right words to explain to myself what is this void, this darkness world, because it left me with kind of panicked, because I knew that if I'm going to give the interpretation from my brain, I will stay panicked. But if I will give the interpretation from my heart, I will find the current words to describe what is this world. And I found out that the darkness world is the pure potential of the soul that didn't came true, that didn't came to the right actions inside the body, in this world. And the gap between the light of my soul and my actions, and where I tried to lead my light, to influence the light of my soul, wasn't the right path. And so the potential of my soul wasn't in the right path, and there was a gap. And while I was there, I felt that gap between me and myself, which means between my real identity and my fake identity. And being outside of my body, there is nothing fake. It's all real. It was more real than me talking to you right now. And I didn't want to stay there. And I yelled, and I asked to get out of this place. And when I yelled, I saw a golden spot that it felt like it's decades then far away from me. But as much as I wanted to get in this golden spot more, I just launched to it. And apparently that it was a world itself, this beautiful golden spot. And there was me in the house of judgment. And this house of judgment may be called like that, but for me it was the house of mercy, It was all about mercy and love. And I was there. There was 3 rabbis in front of me, and they were like my grandpas. They loved me so much, and their love came out of their eyes to me. And there were thousands of souls behind me, and they were all thought together like big waves behind me. Like, she can be understood. She can be understood. And one of the rabbis looked at me and he said, "What are you doing here? You are not supposed to be here." And I said, it wasn't at words, it was all by a telepathic way. But I felt there is no way I'm coming back. No way. For me, there was no option that I'm coming back to this body. And I just said that I don't want to come back. I came home. And he said, "This is not your time. You need to come back." And there was a screen, white screen, and I had a life review. All my life, I lived again all my life that I had since I was born. And I saw everything, but it was all at once. I was the spectator, and I was all the actors at the movie of my life. So if I hurt someone, I felt what I hurt in him. And I found out there that the only person who judged me in my life, it was me. I was so judgmental. And by dealing with represent people at the court, even that I want the justice and I wanted to help people, it wasn't the right way. And there is a lot of judgment there. No, and that's not my path. And I had I will tell you about one of my, the things that I saw in my life review. And it was one time that I had a cross examination at the court to some person. And it wasn't, again, my occupation that time. And one of the girls from the office, she got pregnant and she had to go to labor. And they told me, from now to now, you need to go and represent this bank. I didn't represent a bank before, and I needed to replace her. And I went there, and I saw at the courtroom a man. He was 82 years old. He was at the Holocaust, and I was supposed to take money from this man. And I couldn't handle myself. I was praying that I just couldn't be in this situation, and I almost cried, and I couldn't do my work like I'm supposed to, like I'm a lawyer, but that's not the reason I went to be a lawyer. And it wasn't easy. And I didn't do what I needed to do, but still I blamed myself all the years that I just needed to go. And while I was at the House of Mercy, they showed me that it was current that I will be there. I was the current person that was supposed to be there because the other lawyer wasn't mercy to him, so I needed to be there. And instead of blaming myself all those years, I needed to say, thank God that it was me there. And it was something that walked with me many, many years, that I blamed myself and I felt bad because of that. And while I was there, I understood that everything is so current, even if we don't understand, and there is no judgment. It's all about love. So after seeing my life review and the rabbi who explained me, I understood that the other option is to reborn again, and I wasn't ready for that. So I chose, because I was like more than chose, I accepted to the fact that I need to come back, and I promised 3 things. The first thing is that I will tell this story, what happened to me. The second thing, that I will use the skills that God gave me for good things, to help people, not to fight with the darkness, but from the light side, just to turn on the light. And the problem was that before my NDE, I thought that my skills that God gave me are my natural talents, and there was a little pride there. It's like all about me. And after my NDE, I understood that nothing is mine. I got skills just to use them and to give from those skills God light, the love that is inside of me. And the third thing that I promised is that I will, in Hebrew it says לחזור בתשובה, which means to come back with an answer. But in Israel, they connect this sentence to get religious, but it's not about religious. My experience wasn't a religious experience, it was a spiritual experience. And coming back with an answer, it wasn't religious while I was there at the House of Mercy. It was asking a question and getting the answer inside of my heart. And that's about development. Yes, Raz? Okay. Development and discovering the soul. Like this life, it's like a treasure hunt, that the treasure is our soul and we want to reveal it. So we need to experience in a lot of situations, like this field is full of experiences, so we will be able to discover the light of our soul. So coming back with an answer, which means to coming back to my real identity. And I felt ashamed because after seeing my life review, I felt that I wasn't so relevant to me. I felt that like someone deceived me, but no one deceived me. The only one who deceived me, it was I deceived myself, that I was identified with my not real identity. And that's made me feel very ashamed that it's like an actor that the movie, they said cut, and now he's continuing with his character, and everybody telling him, look, the movie is over, you can come back to yourself. So I said that this is not me, but I meant to say, this is who I am right now, what I am right now, not all this play. And I had to go back, so I got into the screen, and the rabbi looked at me and he said, I trust in you. And when he said that, I felt that I have really the power to do what I need to do. And when I got into the screen, there was a soul that escorted me to this earth. And I came to a place, to a world that was a lightning world. So if before was in the darkness, in the void, now the same world of darkness is the world of light. And that's what made me understood that the darkness has no independent, yes.
There's no independent
identity. There is no roots of the darkness, but it's something that comes out of the light. And while I was there, I knew that. And there were 3 stairs and a door, and I opened the door and went to another world. And the next world that I was there, it was a world that only skies. And I was on a cloud, and there was a rope ladder that came down from the cloud to the earth. And the soul that escorted me, she asked me, she said, "Do you want to take off your shoes?" And I said, "No, I don't want. I rather to stay with them." Now, I had no shoes because I had no body. And when she asked that, I knew what she meant. And she meant shoes in Hebrew. The letters of shoes, it's letter of locked, right? And actually she asked me, "Do you want to come back to your body without the locked that you have around you, the patterns that locked you, that you locked your conscience? You have the possibility to go back to your body without that. What do you prefer?" And I said, "No." So for me, after coming back, it was devastating. Like, why I said no? But I know why I said no. I said no because my soul chose no. And my soul chose to make this journey by myself and not to get present without doing anything. And I started to get down the ladder, and I felt like I'm being reduced every step and step. And I saw all the galaxies, and I felt united with everything around me. And it was wonderful. And this soul that escorted me, I felt bliss and I felt peaceful again. But I wasn't thinking about what I'm going to do on the earth and everything. So I started to go down, and there was the planet Earth, and I got into the planet, and then to the earth, but I didn't get to the earth, I got to the ocean. And when I got to the ocean, I had only 3 steps, and I had to jump to the ocean. And I understood that, oh my God, I'm really coming back. I don't want to come back. How am I supposed to live here? Like, I want to go back, and I couldn't contain this, that I'm coming back to this realistic life. So I thought about coming back and going up to the ladder. And the soul that escorted me, she asked, "What are you doing, Hila?" And I said, "I don't want to go back. I want to go. I don't want to go back to my body. I want to go back home. I can't. And I was in panic and I cried. And she said, "Do you remember what you promised?" And I said, "Yes, I do, but I just want to go to my family." And she said, "Look, every resistance that I had, she solved that." She said, "You know that your family is with you all the time, that there is a navy of angels and souls that's behind you, even if you are not seeing them. You are not alone. You're never alone. You know that." And then I said, "Yeah, but there is a concealment in the earth, and I want to feel the love of God. I can't stay here with this like curtain around me. I want to feel what I feel right now." And she explained me, but not with words. And I knew that what she said is right. She's explained to me why this curtain, because concealment is so necessary, because if I will feel inside of my body the feeling that I felt outside of my body won't be able to contain it. There will be a big explosion, and I will be a lot of small particles, and I won't be able to experience this life and to do things. But so it means that the limits are conserving. That's that.
Yes,
Conserving our opportunity to live on earth. And then I had the third resistance, and I said, "Okay, but where should I go? What would I do? I don't know what to do, how to live this life again." And she said, "Just jump. You will find a way. You will find your way. Jump and you will find out." So I jumped to the ocean, and I swam and swam until I had no power. I felt powerless, and I stayed on my place, and I thought, okay, I have no power. Maybe I'm going to drown right now. It's no way it's going to happen, because God, would you let me coming back? And then I don't think so. So I just need your help. I don't know how to go to the land. I have no power. So I asked for help. And I started to feel something is bubbling underneath me. And it was strange. It was like being in jacuzzi, and I didn't understood what's going on. And I looked, and suddenly I saw like 1,000, more than 1,000, like all the fishes in the sea, all the animals of the sea. They were all getting back together to one group, and they pushed me. They gave me a push and a drive, and I could move. And suddenly came, I know that it sounds like something from the movies, but came a whale, a big whale. And he was holding my feet and gave me also a push. And they were all just escort me and gave me a push and a drive to the land. And I got to the land, and I saw a room there on the beach. I opened the door and I got in, and I saw my grandpa, and I cried, and I said to my grandpa, "Grandpa, how can I come back what should I do? What should I do? How can I live this life right now after coming back? What should I do? And he answered to me the same answer that this soul told me. He said, just start to walk and you will find out. And he said that he needs to go. And I was very respectful, because when he said it, I knew that he can't be here, he needs to go. He just was the one who getting me to this earth, but now he needs to go. And I woke up after the surgery, and no organ came, they took no organ out of my body. I was very happy, and I smiled to my mom when I woke up and came back to sleep. And then I woke up again and I couldn't stop talking. And I said to my mom, oh my God, Mom, so many miracles happened to me. Oh my God, can you believe that? This beautiful miracle, and I'm one, all the organs here, and I'm alive. And she said, how do you know that? And I thought, well, when I woke up before, you told me, no? And she said, no. And I remembered, and I said, wow, she didn't tell me. I heard that, and her lips didn't move, and I heard that inside of me. And I started to tell my mom and my dad that I saw my great-grandmother and the family, and there is no death, and it's all about love. And I was so passionate to tell them, and I'm sorry, how do you have?
Passionate.
Yes, okay. I was so passionate that I couldn't stop talking, and I told to my mom and to my dad, you can't believe, and I was there, and the particles, everything loved me and hugged me, and I was the love. You see, Mom and Dad, I was the love. I am the love. We came from love. We're all love, and we're coming back from love, and we are the love because God is the love, you see? So my parents looked at me, and I looked at them, and they thought, because I heard all those thoughts that they had, they thought, okay, maybe the painkillers that she took, something happened to our daughter. And I knew that I'm not crazy. I knew everything that I'm saying is right. And I just wanted to hear that. And I said, do you know how crazy it is to get the soul inside with the body? It's like, for me, it's like, it was a miracle. Like, how we never wonder about that. Like, getting inside my body, it was like I felt something was like I was pushed and get a little more and more to get inside the body, and the soul is limitless, and it's like I felt nobody understand me. So I was trying to think about examples and to use my talking skills that I used to use at the court to explain myself to myself and to my parents. So I told them, look, it's like a big ocean. Try to take the ocean and put it inside an envelope paper. It's not possible. You don't think it's possible, right? So take the soul and put it inside a body in a limits. It's a miracle. And we can't take it for granted. And I was so happy. I tried to tell my parents everything, but I felt that as more that I'm talking, more and more the people around me think that I get crazy. So, because another things happened after that. The doctor or the first surgeon came, and he was angry about me because I was a live evidence for his mistake. But I knew why this mistake happens to him and everything, because he started good, but in the future he became with pride and wanted to make a lot of surgery without do the right things, and he was a really good doctor. I wasn't angry about him. I just felt, okay, look, it happens to the most of the doctors. Mistakes happens. Everything is okay. I just want to hug him, but he was still angry about me. So I needed to understand what's going on and how was his weekend. So I asked him, Doctor, how was your weekend at the north, in the cabin with your wife? How was it? It was good. And he was in shock. He just raised his head and looked at me. He didn't ask me, how do you know? He said, well, I don't feel comfortable with that because I didn't hear your calls, and so I couldn't talk. And he didn't know I saw everything. And I didn't care. I didn't meant to sue the hospital or to sue him. I just was so happy and grateful. And I just want to yell and to scream to everyone and say to them, everything is good, everything is love. But I knew that even the doctors don't ask me, how do you know? And they look at me like I'm so weird that I'm so happy. And actually I can understand them, because when the doctor came to me, doctors in the morning, they looked at the protocol and said, Hila Baruch. And I said, no, it's not me. Don't put me inside a pattern. I am not my name. I am not nothing of everything that I thought I am. That's not me. And the doctors didn't understood what I want from their life, but I knew what I'm saying at that time. So they called to the social worker. And the social worker, she came in and she tried to explain to me that I have PTSD, that I'm with trauma, and I didn't understand what you want from me. I made her interview her and asked her, where are you from? So if you are from oncology wards, why are you here? That's not my issue. And I understood that she told to come to me because I have a problem. And I thought to myself, if I'm going to tell her what's happening to me, I'm sure she's going to tell me that I need to go to psychiatric. And she said, look, I'm here. I will tell you why I'm here if you really want to know. Look at yourself. Well, I was still connected to machines, and I looked all the pipes and the things, and I didn't understood what she wants from me. And I said, okay. And she said, you see the problem? And I said, what? And she said, you're happy, darling. You're happy. That's a problem. That means that you are with trauma right now, and this is what happens to you. So I left, and I thought to myself, oh my God, if I'm going to tell her what happened to me, I'm sure that they are going to take me somewhere. And while I thought those thoughts, I left more and more. I was just happy. I just want to hug her and everybody. And I understood that I need to think right with who I can talk to about it, because not the medical staff, even not friends and family, nobody really wants to hear that. And I was amazed, like, that's the most important thing in the world, like the meaning of this life. And after that, I came back home. And I understood that I need to understand what happened to me. And I took a notebook and I wrote down to myself, who am I? And the thing that I wrote was, I'm love. And I want to explain to myself what it means, this love, because outside of the body, of my body, it's one concept. But inside of my body, it's a big concept that has a lot of branches, and I need to break it down to details to explain it to myself. And it was very difficult for me to explain it to myself. So I thought, okay, maybe if I will explain to myself what I'm not, it will be easier to me to explain to myself what I am. So I knew that I'm not a lawyer. I'm not, nothing that I thought before that defined me, it's not my definition. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a dancer, I'm not a singer, I'm not a therapist to know anyone, I'm not a responsibility for other lives. And I started to find the right words to try to explain to myself by words what happened to me. And I understood that love, it's not the romantic love that we see in the movie. Even those loves doesn't hold for a life. I understood that love is it's two different beings that wants to be one. And outside of the body, you just feel the wholeness of everything. And I tried to talk to people, but it felt that people don't want to hear that. And it made me feel, I was frustrated because I felt, how is it possible that, like, if we're going to a vacation in another land, we check how much is the coin, where we are going to sleep, where we are going to travel. But in this life, we live like we will live here forever, and with the identity that we build to ourselves by our experiences in life, by our family, culture, everything, and think that this is really who we are. And we don't ask the right questions to find and to realize who we really are and how it's possible to live all this life without asking those questions. And there was no one I can talk to. And I understood that I need to make my own research to understand myself. One moment. So I understood that in this earth life, if I want to understand what is life, I need to break it down to, what is love, to break it down to details. So love is a complex of justice, of peace, of giving. So there is a lot of things that they are all a complex of love. So if, for example, I want to make a soup, and in the soup I put carrots and pepper and onion and a lot of other things. So everything is separated, but after I'm making the soup, you taste it and it's all the flavors are one. So we need to find what is love complex in this earth, in this earthy life. And I discovered that changing myself, it's not the right perception, because we are not supposed to change ourselves. We just need to take off the curtain, who hides ourselves from ourselves, because like what happened to me, that I thought that I am the identity that I have, it's me. And all I had to do is just take off this mask. And it feels that sometimes that we are the people, we are talking each other through those masks and not through our hearts. And we are losing all the purpose if our heart is closed. We can talk a lot about to be one, but we need to do things to be one. We need to give this a place in our life and in what we do in our life. It was very difficult journey, I have to say, with the after effects, because for me, I didn't have a person to talk to, and it was like the after effects decided that they want to have a party inside of me, and nobody told me about the after effects. So it wasn't easy for me to deal with trying to explain to myself what I've been through, and on the other hand, to deal with the after effects. But I knew that this life is a continuing education program, that like this program is for us to reveal our soul. So if I believe that I am all the patterns that I chose to be, it's like reducing my soul. It's like taking a soul who is unlimited and put it inside a box. And we are creating the jail in our thoughts. And we can get out of this jail if we will find the purpose of our life, of our soul, and how to use the present that God, and God for me is love, yeah? How to use the present that God gave us to help other people. And to help other people, it sometimes can be only to smile. You don't know what's going on in a person's heart, what he's been through, what if he's sad and he's not showing that. And sometimes just being enlightenment from your heart, it just comes out to the other person, and it can make him glowing. And we are all a part of each other. We are connected. It's like there is a veins between all of us, and that those veins are connected, all of us, all the humanity, but we can't see those veins. And we are feeling like we are separated, but it's all an illusion. It's not real. So if we will go through this life and ask the right questions, because we need to ask the right questions, because the right questions will lead us to the right answers. And the right answer is the nature of our soul. And the nature of our soul is love. It's not being outside the body. Sometimes people think that it's powers that, how do you say,
supernatural.
That it's supernatural, but it's not supernatural, it's the natural of our soul. And being patient and want to give and be kind and want to be in peace with everyone around me. This is our nature. Like you don't see someone who sits next to a flower and clap his hands and he says to the flower, good, you're amazing that you are growing. We are not doing that because that's the nature of the flower. He needs to grow. The sun needs to shine. So that's the nature. So what is our nature as a human being? Nobody taught us to listen inside of us, to see inside of us, to hear the voice that is inside of us. And I think that this generation who wants the truth, who wants to feel unite together, looking for the truth, that's the right tool for us to get connected again, because we are already connected, but we are just need to be aware for our connection and how my action is influenced on other actions. And if we live in this life and we understand that even the pain that we have in this life, it's lessons that our soul wants to learn, we can make this life not easier, because we are not supposed to make life easier, but we can make this life with essence and the right essence of our heart and our soul. We need to be able to talk each other, no matter from what culture we are and what the color of our skin and what the language that we talk. Because the only language that will go with us outside the body will be the language of our heart. So if in this life I'm connecting to my heart, I won't feel the gap after that, like I felt. That's my conclusion about myself, okay? But I think that, and I believe that those NDEers like me, that we have a mission, and we have a mission to tell this story to remind the humanity, our real nature. And it's not about information that is outside of us. All this information, it's already inside of us. And we just need to give it a value in our life. So I started to think, what can I do in this life? What kind of value I can make in this new life? And I was frustrated because I tried to go back to the courtroom, and I thought maybe I need to bring something else to this place, but it just broke my heart. And because on one side I felt that I love everybody. I love the judge, I love the other lawyer that I'm supposed to fight with. I love everybody. And on the other hand, I feel that there is injustice, and how can I be in this place again? And it broke my heart. And I became much more sensitive. And I understood that I have changed, but it's not that I changed, it's just that a lot of curtains that hide my light, even my light from myself, are moved from me, and I can't be the actor or with the mask that I was before. But just figure out yourself, me coming as me to the court, and after saying my speech, looking at the judge the lawyers, the people around me, and saying to them, you know what, we don't live once, like the sentence say, we live much more, but this is not real life. I love you, and I love you, and I love everyone. And think to yourself, what kind of response I can get if I'm only being me? And I understood that it can be problematic to a few people, even more than a few, and that I need to make a few adjustments in my life to fit who I am right now to my new life. I didn't have someone to talk to, and when I tried, not everyone believed me. And one day I sat down and I asked God, okay, maybe it was all a dream, and I knew that it's not. It was more real than everything that I ever felt, and more real than this reality. And I asked for a sign because I didn't have what to hold on, and I wasn't aware about NDE and all those things, and I needed to understand what happened to me, and I needed to be sure that I'm not dreaming, because everyone around me looked at me like I'm crazy. And at that night, I had another spiritual experience that I laid in my bed, and I went out of my body. And what I saw, can you show, please? And what I saw when I went out of my body to the porch, I saw the sun and the moon together. It was amazing. We will show you that right now. And I tried to paint it, and the sun were next to the moon, and I was breathing and was one with all of that, and there were colors and like singing, like angels sings, and something that I never felt. And those colors were living colors, and I was amazed, and I didn't understood that I'm outside of my body. I even had a thought to myself that, oh my God, I have to bring my phone. I have to take a picture to show this to my family and friends. Nobody will believe me, because I felt it's real, but it was more real than this reality. And it was close to me, like I can reach to that and touch. And for me, it was so strong that when I came back to my body, like my body was on the bed, but it was awake. I was awakened, and it was more than a sign for me. And I needed that so much, because I just needed to know that I know that I'm not crazy, that what's happened to me, it's real. But who else had something like that except me? And I was frustrated because in Israel, most of the NDEs it's like that. NDE equal fear, equal religion. And I'm not against religious. I believe in God. I believe that God is love. When people ask me, did you meet God? I say that I thought before my NDE that God, it's like we're trying to understand who God is, so we give him titles, human titles. And I thought that I will hear a sound like a bass sound, that someone will call my name and will say, Hila, Hila. And it's not like that. God is a wisdom, is love. God is the love. And his light is his love wisdom. And it's actually so simple. It's not so difficult to understand that it's all about love. And we thought that maybe that we have the technology and science and everything, but it felt for me that we forget something, one thing, and it's our heart and how we can connect each other. So I started to be alone a lot of my time. I think that most of my time I was alone, but I had a research and I tried to understand what's going on to me. And one of the other paints that I paint was of the darkness world. We would like to show you this paint too. It was my interpretation of this cement darkness and the embryo and that I felt in this darkness. And when I understood that there is something that's called NDE, like everything was opened for me. I felt it's the best gift that I can ever get, that, okay, I know that I'm normal, I'm not crazy, and all the after effects, I'm going through them. And now I can understand myself, but in Israel, we don't have the people to talk to. I knew that it's just a matter of time until I will tell my story and I will try to make a branch of IANDS here in Israel. And I felt that this is one of the most important missions that I have in my life, not only for those people that had NDE, that need someone to talk to, but also to tell here in Israel to people that love is God and God is love, and we came from love. We are coming back from love, coming back for love, and it's all about love. All the lessons that we have in our life. And the reason that we have pain is that there is so many curtains around us, and that it's a big absurd that we need to learn how to love. Like, that's our nature, and we need to learn how to love and how to listen to our heart, but we never been taught our nature. And as much as that we will give a value to our real nature, our heart, and the being connecting to every person, no matter who he is, that's the most important thing that we have. But first we have to know ourselves, because a person who don't know himself and don't know his identity, how can he love another person? So first we with the right identity. So I hope we will all be in this life unite as one, especially in these times of the COVID-19. That, you know, Cupid, the letters of Cupid in Hebrew, it's the letters of respectful, the word respectful. So I think that we forgot also how to respect each other. And it's like God told us, you know, you can stay at your places and rethinking about who you really are, and try to make your life better and make the earth better by that. So I'm thankful for your listening and for the opportunity to tell my story, even though my English is not so amazing or good. But I hope that your heart heard the meaning of what I meant to say. Thank you all.
Ella, I want to say thank you very much. That was a wonderful telling. We are right up at 9 o'clock, and I would like to give our audience, who is still all with us, to a chance maybe to ask one or two questions. About a half an hour ago, Sue Ann asked a question that you really, I think, have already answered, but I'll let you come back to it a little. She says, what did you discover your purpose to be in everyday life?
What did you discover? ביום יום, every day? Oh, well, I have to be honest. The first thing is that for the first, like 2 months after my NDE, I was only happy. But after 2 months, I got into depression because I didn't know how to be. I just felt that every day that I do something with meaning, with purpose, it's like I'm wasted. And then I felt shame that I don't deserve this huge present, and I have to do something. And I always told God, if I'm not doing something, I'm not giving for myself, what am I doing here? So I started to give consolation, that's the right word? Consolation. To sick women that had my illness. It's illness that are not included in the consultation of the government that pays for someone who can't deal with the illness and everything, and it wasn't included. And I found a gap where I can achieve something. I did it on me, and then I started to give consolation to other people, and actually I was so not understanding this world after coming back that I thought that I need to do it without money. So for more than a year I worked by volunteer without charging money, and I thought I'll do what I need to do and God will help me. I mean, it's all about love. And I understood that I need to charge money, because then I found myself without apartment, without anything, and I didn't understand, hey, what's going on? I do my mission, you do your mission, but it's not working like that, this world. So after doing that, today I do this also, and not always charging money, and more it's volunteering. And if I charge, it's something very small, it's much more to help those women. And what I do too, it's this IANDS group, which means talking to people who had NDE, collapse, all the testimonies. We want to make a school for NDE here in Israel. What I do, I escort also, well, actually, now I don't because he died, but I escort someone at the hospice. I feel very connected to this kind of transitional, because they are between this world and that world that they're going to, and most of those people are very panicked, and I feel that I just need to be there. So I today I do a lot of things, and I have people with me, but I always think that I can do more, and but only today I feel that I took the skills that God gave me and I do with them the right thing that I really need to do from the light side, not from the dark, without fighting with the darkness. I'm just trying to turn on the light every place that I'm going.
Mm-hmm. So for each of us, our job is to seek to remember who we really are, which is love, and find our way of using the talents that God gave us to express that love in our lives. And for you, it's through that path. For another person, it might be another path, but it's likely to involve service and goodwill and non-judgment, qualities like that when we're, and using the ears of our hearts. Like you said, your heart has ears, using the ears of our hearts to listen for the ways to express our true nature in our lives.
Okay, I'm gonna, yes. Well, before you answer that, Hila, we've been asked from the production people to just give a little pause here because they're stopping this recording and starting a new one so that we can, apparently we've reached the limit of the equipment to record this.
Okay.
So if you have questions, you can type them into the Q&A box there. And as well,
and while thank you, Pete. And while people are doing that, I just want to say, so many of the things that you described are in some of the same words even as other near-death experiencers, like say the peace that you experienced, the sense that you were home. And some of the words that you used are so precious, like you said you hatched out of your body. And I've never heard a near-death experiencer use that word, but it's like, you know, the chick breaking out of the egg, you hatched out of your body.
Yeah.
And while you were out of your body, you launched to these, you know, you would think about someone and boom, you would be there. But you use the word launch, like you just launch yourself to that location where they were. And so I just enjoyed you are concerned about your English, but I was taken with some of the words that you used that I thought were just lovely and very descriptive. So
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Sure.
Actually, when I thought I had like something that I wanting something just launch me to what I want. It's like was the path what I want. So I understood after coming back to my body how important is to find our real wishes, because my willing will take me to this place, and outside the body it just happens. But even here, and when sometimes things happen inside the body, we think, yeah, it's a coincidence, you know, and it's hard for us to see the synchronicity about between everything, and we just need to open our eyes and heart, and we can see how everything is connected. So how important it is what we want and why we want what we want. Like if I'm asking someone, what do you want? And he says to me, I want to have a villa next to the beach and I want to have a pool. I will ask him, okay, now you have that. 10 years after, what you would want. And if he will think that it will be enough for him to make him happy, he will say, I achieved. But nobody said it. When it's something outside of us, it's never enough. And then it's like running after the next thing and you never full. But coming back to the body, it's coming back with the conscience that I'm already full. And if I'm already full, I can only give. So that's different two perceptions. One perception, it's me coming back to this life just to take and to eat and to do. And I can take like a big black hole, it will never be enough. But if my conception is that I'm already full. The love is inside of me. I don't need to get love. Feeling love is to give the love. When you get the love, you don't really feel the love. It's like children that small children get always from their parents. They don't feel the love that the parents feel. Only when they are parents, they know, oh, you know, Mom, when you were, now I know what you felt. But we never feel the real love that our parents feel. We feel their love, but it's never like they are feeling. So feeling love, it's not getting love, it's giving. And the modern generation taught us achievements. The achievement, it's like me and me and me and me and me and me and me, and the me, it's never over. It's never over. But if the perception is perception of oneness and giving and be who I am. So first of all, I just need to be aware of who I am and from what vibe I am right now. Because if I'm in a vibe that I miss something, that's not the right vibe. But if I'm in a vibe that I'm already full and from that vibe I'm giving, I will never be less than something. But don't take my things that I said to the edge like I did when I didn't charge any money, because in this really earthy life we need to have balance. And so if I'm taking because I want to give. And so it's not taking, it's get for a minute to give much more, to be able to give much more. And then all the universe comes together to help you do what you need to do. That's how I met you. So
yeah, thank you. And one of our participants says, do your parents still think you're crazy?
Well, in another way. No, they heard my lecture, and they came to me, not only my parents, I'm the older sister in the family, and my sisters, and they came to me and they said, wow, we're sorry, we didn't know that that's what you were going through. And because I cried a lot, and you know, go and explain to yourself that you're crying because you miss yourself. It's not easy to explain it. And it wasn't easy for me even to accept that I have skin, like that fact was like, I was amazed for a year. I always touching my skin like that and doing like that, and like why I was grieving for having limits, but it was because I didn't understand that those limits are for us to be able to be in this world. Because if there was no limits, I couldn't give to someone because it's already one. If there was no limits, I couldn't smell the flower and see that. So it's already one. But here we are doing this experience. So all the people around me that thought that I get crazy or maybe I lost my mind, they came to me and they said that they were sorry because they didn't know, because they didn't even listen. That's why it's so important to be with open heart. Even if we don't agree or we don't have the same beliefs, the fact that we can talk between us, that's so important. Because if we will try to break down hate, we will find out that there is nothing behind. But if we will try to break down the love, get into the roots, we will find out that it all comes from that. So just we need to change the glass that we have and see from inside outside the right reality. And I think that a lot of NDEs have the possibility to make like a rope of a baby between the baby and the mom. What's the word of that? A rope.
The umbilical
yes,
cord?
Yes. So we need this. The NDEers are like the belt rope between this world and the other world. But the other world is not another dimension that is not here. It's everything here. It's just a model inside of model inside of model. And we are all like a drop of a sea that eventually this drop will come back to the sea. So we all have the same qualities, like the sea. We are all the same.
So the next question is about that you seem to have really come back with a lot of empathy and sensitivity to others, but have you found any need to guard yourself against any type of toxic personalities? You know what I mean by that? Toxic?
Yes.
How do you do that? This person asks.
Well, I don't know where to start, because I believe that when I see something bad outside of me, it's just like my inner world, it's like projection to what I see outside. So if I see something like that, well, I'm not blaming things outside. I'm trying to think what thoughts I had, or not right belief or something like that, that the reality that being showed to me is that reality. It's not always the same, like what inside outside, but it's the same root, but not the same experience. For example, I worked in one office, and I found out that one of the lawyer, she didn't have integrity, and she took much more money than she needs to. And I couldn't accept that at all. And I went to talk to her and tried to arrange the things right. But eventually I left. But all the time I asked myself, why the reality that came to me is something like that? It's what's inside of me project this. And it took me a while, and I got the answer that I am the one who doesn't give to myself. So I am taking from myself. I need also to give myself. So it's not like the same, it's the same idea you need to find inside of you while you project. But sometimes it's just an experience that you need to know, to see, and you need to have mercy for this person who is not aware to his soul, not blaming or judging, just try to have a lot of mercy. And there is people that you can't talk to them, and with those people, what I do, I can pray on them, I can bless them, and I don't need to be a rabbi or a priest to bless people. Just a part of this love, a part of God. We already have the power to bless everyone. So I can bless him, and I can bless him with the bless that I wish that he would be much more connected, because someone who is not have the softness inside of him, it means that he is far away from his soul, because to get connected to your soul, you need to be very gentle inside of you and outside of you. And if you are not gentle, love is gentle. Mm-hmm. It's not about, you know.
Mm-hmm. So your answer really has two parts. One is that if you encounter some difficulty in life, one aspect is what you can learn about yourself, and in some way that this situation might be a projection of something that you need to do to help yourself, again, get closer to your own identity and so forth. And the other is to know that that when someone else is less than loving, it's because they're not connected to themselves. And so you bless them, you pray for them, and treat them in a way that at least creates an opportunity for them to connect with themselves more. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. There are two questions about religion. Like one had to do with whether you've had any difficulty with your family wanting you to behave in traditional ways or be the person that you used to be. And another one, well, I'll just ask that one first. Have you felt any difficulty around your family wanting you to be, to follow their traditions, to be who you used to be, anything like that?
Well, actually, my family just wanted me to be happy. And I was in a lot of pain because the truth is that I didn't accept the fact that I'm here. Mm-hmm. It took me much years to accept the fact that I'm here. Even when I had much more purpose and I gave the consolations and everything, but still I felt that I'm missing home, and that I felt like I also was angry at God. It's like coming back to here, it's like losing someone, but you are losing your fake identity, but now you need to learn everything from the beginning, and I'm still learning, yeah? Mm-hmm. I'm 36 years old, and I feel like a new baby, but with a package of a past and experiences and all of that. So my family just want me to be happy, but all the rest of the people who knew me, and I knew many people, they just want the other Hila to come back. And that's what was hard for me, that people want my other characters, personality, and that character, it wasn't me, it was the fake me. So I wasn't ready to give that to anyone, and I wasn't ready to put that mask on me anymore. So there's people who wasn't agree for that, so just they vanished. Mm-hmm. Decided to be vanished from my life, and I didn't understand that time, because I felt what's going on, so many things, and I need to process so many things. But I understand that not every person can contain this information. Even me, I felt that my head is going to explode from all this information, and I used to write a lot just to explain to myself, and what I told today is just a piece without the insights and all the other things. And mm-hmm. I felt that the only person who can help me, because I didn't have someone around me, is me being alone with God, but I wasn't ready to give the other me that I was, fake me, to give it to be like that. I wasn't ready for that. But I feel that people who had NDE, it takes time to transform the past character personality to the new. In one hand, the new character is alive, it's here, it's me, but on the other hand, if I see something like that it's not justice and something bad, like what happened to me at the hospital, that they almost killed him, he had no family and no one, and they decided to put him asleep because he's going to die, so we will make him sleep. So when I was in this situation, I just cried, and I even yelled, and I said, how can you say that? So sometimes the other character just jumped, but it happens usually when I see something that it's so against the new me, which means like for example, about this example, it's about the holiness of life. And if you think that he's going to die anyway, so right now I will make him sleep, like, what's going on? Every minute in this life it's important, and being here and even have a regret or about something, it's a great tool to go with him outside the body. It takes another curtain from you. So sometimes it happens that the other Hila wants to fix and to change the world, but I'm not trying to change or to convince. I'm just trying to be love. And love have a lot of aspects, and sometimes you need to be strong for love and for your people that you want to take care of them. But it's supposed to be without judgment. So even if I had NDE, I need to be real with you and to say that I was angry about the doctor who said it. I felt that she is not a doctor. A doctor is someone that wants to get someone healed and not to get someone asleep. So it's a meaning. It's not the title. And
okay, thank you. Thank you. We have 3 more questions, and then I think, or maybe we have 4 more questions, and then that's, I think, will be the end then. One of the people says, as a Jewish person who also had an NDE, I had a very hard time finding a rabbi who understood what I went through. Did you discuss your NDE with any rabbis, and did you feel like any of them understood you?
Well, it's crazy what I'm going to say to you, because it's crazy for me too until today. One of the rabbi that I talked to, I thought this is rabbi who died. So I was looking, I remembered his face, and I was looking online on the internet, rabbis who died, and I was looking for his face. And I didn't know name or nothing, just know the face. And after a few years, I went to a lecture, and there was a night, and the last one who came to give a lecture, it was the rabbi who was there with me. He is alive.
Wow. Wow.
So for me, it was a huge present, because now there is someone that I can talk to and I can say, hey, do you remember me? Now he can confirm, and I'm not crazy anymore. But going to people like that, they're so humble. that for them, there is no me. There is only he. And I know what it means, because here inside the body, I can say I, but it's all about he, and I mean about the love. So if you're going to someone like that and you're trying to make separated him from God or from love, for him, he is not relevant. So it's humble that we don't know in this world. He didn't even want to tell me that this is who he is. So I wasn't ready to give up. So I went to his daughters and to his wife, and until I got the confirmed that I need to, but he asked me, from him I was asked not to tell his name. But there were others who asked me, do you remember me? I was there. And no, it was because there is like religious organizations who try to go to those people who had NDE and try to preach people to be religious by others, NDE of others. But he wasn't like that. He just didn't want people to know and everything. So I, unfortunately, because my heart just want everybody will see, because his face are so pure that I felt the light that comes from his eyes to me, and it was amazing. But he's alive, he's more than alive, and it's amazing that there is people that can be in two worlds. I couldn't believe that it's even possible. I didn't know. And today, after having research, I know that there is a few more like me that saw him.
Wow.
Yes.
Interesting. Wow. Very interesting. Okay. Another person says, thank you so much for sharing. And do you have any plans to write a book? Because I sense there's even more that you could have shared about your NDE and what you learned from it.
Actually, I thought that the first thing that I would do is to write a book. And I'm writing songs for years, and I never have the title of the song before I write the song. But for the first time in my life, I started a few months after my NDE to write a book, and it was the first time that I knew the name of the book before I started even to work on it. And the name is from well, in English it sounds different. In Hebrew it's Me'ori Le'ori. It's only one letter that is changed, Me'ori Le'ori. And in English it's from my skin to my light. It sounds different, but I want to write a book not only about my experience. It's important to me to write a book about the after effects that I didn't elaborate, because there was more and still there is. Yes, I will do it. And I hope it will be as soon as possible. But
great. Well, if it gets translated into English, I think you have some readers already. And I'm going to go to the last question because we're running very short of time. And do you still feel like you're bonded to your spiritual escort? And do you think that that soul was your guardian angel?
That soul was the soul that's supposed to escort me and give me help to integrate myself to the new life. She was there with me also on the first week. I felt her everywhere I went, but I didn't like it. Even though it wasn't frightening or something like that, but for me it was too much for me, because feeling her presence, it was strong, and I felt this is her. And I wasn't like, look, I was a lawyer. I was in a different place, and suddenly I had NDE, and there is a soul that comes with me in every room that I go, and I wasn't ready for talking to her. Even I knew that she came from helping me. Today, I'm sorry that I didn't took advantage of her time here because she was here for me. But when I had one night that I couldn't take it anymore, and I just moved from a room to a room in my house, and she came with me to every room. And then I came to my mom's bed, and I just couldn't contain it anymore. And I was just asking God in my heart, please take her. I don't want to talk to her. Take her. And I really cried because I just couldn't. It was too much for me. Like, now I'm talking with souls. Come on, God, please, step by step. I can't deal with all of this at once. Mm-hmm. And today I'm sorry for that, because I think it was maybe she could help me. I know that she could, because I felt how she helped me with my when I got down to earth. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you think that it's you asked for her to leave? Do you think you could invite her back into your life?
Well, I don't know, and I don't try, because everyone who had NDE come back with a different present sometimes, and you need to be ready to get this present. And sometimes you don't want this present. You want to feel normal, you know.
Yeah.
And so I think that there is like open. What's the channel? Oh yes, open channel. Channel. Yes, that we can feel things. Mm-hmm. But I just actually want to feel normal, and even when I'm saying that, it just pisses me off, because I feel that, like, who wants to normalize? Mm-hmm. Who? Like, why we're trying to normalize ourselves, and why I'm trying, but sometimes it just too much. If I had, if there was already a group in Israel that we can talk each other and share those things, and people who had have this after effect, and we all share. I think I was in a different place, but and much more open to this open channel. Mm-hmm. But I feel that I'm still, like, sometimes I need those spiritual experience, because I need to feel this connection to the other world, and sometimes I don't want it. I don't want it to stop. Mm-hmm. And when it stopped, because God is good listener, mm-hmm. When it stopped, I feel, oh, I miss. Mm-hmm. I need to feel it here. Mm-hmm. So I'm still, maybe ask me a year from now.
Yeah. And it sounds like you're trying to find the balance of how to remain connected without feeling overwhelmed or distracted or whatever. And so you're in that process of finding how to be in that right place. Yeah.
Yes.
And
yes.
Pete, did I see your hand?
Yes, well, I have a request from Raz that he wants to say something at the end. So before Raz speaks, I would just like to say, Hila, thank you very much for being up at this strange hour to tell your story. And your English was very good. It was yeah, very well communicated. Mm-hmm. So
day by day.
Yes. So Raz, please.
Just a few words. Thank you all. Thank you, Hila, for having us Well, we started at the black of night, and now it's already shining. So it's a
Yes.
wonderful experience. And every time I listen to Hila, I hear new things, and my heart expands. And Hila was talking today about the ears of the heart, and you repeated that.
Mm.
So suddenly I understood that even though I've been painting hearts for, do you see the heart here? For many years, actually I was drawing 2 ears all the time.
Look at that.
So we're all just drawing ears connected.
Wow. Wow.
That's probably the ears of the heart.
That's great.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having us.